The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket. Illustrated by Brett Helicourse. To Patrice, my love flew like a butterfly until death swooped down like a bat. As the poet Emma Montana Mickus said, that's the end of that. Chapter 1. Sometimes during your life, in fact, very soon, you may find yourself reading a book. And you may notice that a book's first sentence can often tell you what sort of story your book contains. For instance, a book that began with the sentence, "Once upon a time, there was a family of cunning little chipmunks who lived in a hollow tree." Would probably contain a story full of talking animals who get into all sorts of mischief. A book that began with the sentence, "Emily sat down and looked at the stack of blueberry pancakes her mother had prepared for her, but she was too nervous about Camp Timber Tops to eat a bite," would probably contain a story full of giggly girls who have a grand old time. And a book that began with the sentence, "Gary smelled the leather of his brand new catcher's mitt and waited impatiently for his best friend, Larry, to come around the corner," would probably contain a story full of sweaty boys who win some sort of trophy. And if you liked mischief, a grand old time, or trophies, you would know which book to read, and you could throw the rest of them away. But this book begins with the sentence, "The Baudelaire orphans looked out the grimy window of the train and gazed at the gloomy blackness of the finite forest, wondering if their lives would ever get any better." And you should be able to tell that the story that follows will be very different from the story of Gary or Emily or the family of cunning little chipmunks. And this is for the simple reason that the lives of Violet, Klaus, and Sonny Baudelaire are very different from Baudelaire.
Baudelaire.
Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Baudelaire. Well, I think that we can all just read it whatever way we feel like reading it, okay? If we find one of the orphans, I think that maybe they could tell us, right? That'd be solid. Oh my God, I am sweating. A minute. Oh. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
What you said.
Violet, Klaus, and Sonny Baudelaire. Can I just see it whatever way I want? Because I'm gonna have to keep getting corrected every time, and I don't want to do that. All right. Baudelaire. 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 Baudelaire.
Oh,
Baudelaire. Baudelaire. All right.
Baudelaire.
Okay. I'm just gonna not even say the name. You want to be like that? Let's just, okay. Let me read the story. I'm even putting it on YouTube for you guys because that's what you asked. All right? Okay. Are very different from most people's lives, with the main difference being the amount of unhappiness, horror, and despair. The three children have no time to get into all sorts of mischief because misery follows them wherever they go. They have not had a grand old time since their parents died in a terrible fire, and the only trophy they would win would be some sort of first prize for wretchedness. It is an atrociously unfair, of course, that the Baudelaires have so many troubles, but that is the way that the story goes. Now, don't we know that's true?
Yes.
Yes. So, now that I've told you that the first sentence will be, "The Baudelaire orphans looked out the grimy window of the train and gazed at the gloomy blackness of the finite forest, wondering if their lives would ever get any better. If you would wish to avoid an unpleasant story, you had best put this book down. Mm. The Baudelaire orphans looked out the grimy window of the train and gazed at the gloomy blackness of the finite forest, wondering if their lives would ever get any better. An announcement over a crackly loudspeaker had just told them that in a few minutes they would, dun dun dun, next page, would arrive in the town of Paltryville, where their new caretaker lives, and they couldn't help wondering who in the world would want to live in such a dark and eerie countryside. Violet, who was 14, and the eldest Baudelaire, looked out at the trees of the forest, which were very tall and had practically no branches, so they looked almost like metal pipes instead of trees. Violet was an inventor and was always designing machines and devices in her head, with her hair tied up in a ribbon to help her think, and as she gazed out at the trees, she began to work on a mechanism that would allow you to climb to the top of any tree, even if they were completely bare. Klaus, who was 12, looked down at the forest floor, which was covered in brown, patchy moss. Klaus liked to read more than anything else, and he tried to remember what he had read about Paltryville mosses and whether any of them were edible. And Sunny, who was just an infant, looked out at the smoky gray sky that hung over the forest like damp sweater? Sweeter? No, it says SWEATER. Damp sweater is what it sounds like.
No, let me try.
You can try.
Which word is it?
It is that word right there, young man.
This one?
Yes.
Smoky.
No, not that word. That word.
Sky.
That word. It says sweater, right?
Okay, sweater.
It does. It doesn't make. Okay, author.
Yeah.
We're all wondering right now. Okay, a damp sweater. It hangs over like a damp sweater. Okay. Sunny had 4 sharp teeth, and biting things with them was what interested her the most. And she was eager to see what there was available to bite in the area. But even as Violet began planning her invention, and Klaus thought of his moss research, and Sunny opened and closed her mouth as a pre-biting exercise, the finite forest looked so uninspiring that they couldn't help wondering if their new home would really be a pleasant one. "What a lovely forest," Mr. Poe remarked, and coughed into a white handkerchief. Mr. Poe was a banker who had been in charge of managing the Baudelaire affairs since the fire, and I must tell you that he was not doing a very good job. His 2 main duties were finding the orphans a good home and protecting the enormous fortune that the children's parents had left behind. And so far, each home had been a catastrophe, a word which here means an utter disaster involving tragedy, deception, and Count Olaf. Count Olaf was a terrible man. Okay, now we have a lot of big words we've gone over. Would anybody like a definition
Of what word?
of any word you've heard so far?
The sweater.
The sweater. That's just a weird placement. I think that it means sweater. Okay.
Or maybe there's a damp sweater right next to the poster. You could take a look.
I think they're saying that the clouds hang like wet and heavy, like a wet sweater might. But
Move it up.
I was talking more about like words like catastrophe or deception.
Catastrophe.
Catastrophe. Well, it pretty much explains that word. It says a word which here means an utter disaster involving tragedy, deception, and Count Olaf.
Okay,
Deception is a lie. Tragedy is a pitfall or something difficult that comes upon you.
or something like that. And
Tragedy, yes, death could be a tragedy. It's almost always a tragedy.
And tragedy also means death or miserable death.
Okay. Or just any really bad happenstance that ruins a life. Yes.
Count Olaf.
Okay. All right. And also Count Olaf. Okay. All right. Was a terrible man who wanted the Baudelaire fortune for himself and tried every disgusting scheme. Disgusting, you know what that means, right? It's gross. That was a firework, not a gunshot. Don't worry. Scheme. That's a plan. Okay, that's when you plan something.
evil.
No, not necessarily. A scheme could be like, you know,
Something that's necessarily.
it's not necessarily positive.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just something planning something bad.
Right. He could think of to steal it. Time after time, he had come very close to succeeding, which means doing well and achieving a goal. And time after time, the Baudelaire orphans have revealed his plan. And time after time, he had escaped. And all Mr. Poe had ever done was cough. Now he was accompanying the children to Poultryville. And it pains me to tell you that once again, Count Olaf would appear with yet another disgusting scheme. And that Mr. Poe... One second. Okay. And that Mr. Poe had ever done was cough. Okay, it pains me to tell you. Once again, Count Olaf would appear with yet another disgusting scheme. And then Mr. Poe would once again fail to do anything even remotely helpful. What a lovely forest, Mr. Poe said again. When he was done coughing, I think you children will have a good home here. I hope you do anyway. Because I've just received a promotion at Mortuary Money Management.
Mortuary money bag.
That's right. I'm now the vice president in charge of coins. And from now on, I will be busier than ever. If anything goes wrong with you here, I will have to send you to boarding school. Oh, my hair is such a mess.
Which what happened in the archery academy.
Until I have time to find you another home.
It did happen in the archery academy. He put them in the archery near the Pufok Preparatory School. No one's gonna watch the
Try pronounce that again. Take your time and say it clear.
Pufok Preparatory School.
What is it now?
Pufok Preparatory School.
Poof.
Pufok Preparatory School. It's a boarding school.
Okay, now let's say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
No one's gonna continue watching this video.
Okay, I am so very sorry. All right, we're practicing P words. It's important. It's imperative. It's imperative that we practice our P words. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many?
Continue watching this and I just.
Okay. All right. So the preparatory school.
Pufok Preparatory School.
Poof. What?
Preparatory School.
Okay. Okay.
Call this episode.
Okay. And Liam says that we need to continue with the story.
And anyway.
And I think it's important to practice P words.
Yeah, you can practice it later.
Okay.
And anyway, Patrick the Starfish packed a pack of picker peppers.
Patrick the Starfish. It was Peter Piper who picked the peck of pickled peppers.
No.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a Fuzzy Wuzzy. Okay. Shh. It's bedtime. We're getting ready for bed.
Let's call this.
We are getting ready for bed.
The worst.
Okay, this was the worst reading ever, Liam says.
No,
Liam is very pessimistic. Also, a P word. Well, Let us continue. Where was I, Liam?
You were saying Pufok Preparatory School. No, you were on who coughed together and said something.
Okay. Need to tell you that once again. Shh. Hey, okay, the boarding school, discussing scheme, remotely helpful. What a lovely forest, Mr. Poe. Have a good home here. I hope you do because I've just received a promotion, blah, blah, blah. And now I will be easier. Okay. If anything goes wrong with you here, I will have to send you to boarding school until I have time to find you another home. So please be on your best behavior. Of course, Mr. Poe, Violet said, not adding that she and her siblings had always been on their best behavior, but that it hadn't done them any good. What is our new caretaker's name? Klaus asked. You haven't told us. Mr. Poe took a piece of paper out of his pocket and squinted at it. His name is Mr. Was. Mr. Koi. I can't pronounce it. It's very long and complicated. Can I see? Klaus asked. Maybe I can figure out how to pronounce it. We learned pronunciation the other day?
Please.
We were
stop.
practicing pronunciation of our P words earlier. Okay.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation. Pronounce.
You
You pronounce it, but it's your pronunciation.
Don't take the starfish. I'm
Okay.
going to pack a piece of peppers.
Learning proper pronunciation is very important.
I'm going to call this episode the word.
Okay. I can't pronounce it. It's very long and complicated. Can I see? Klaus asked. Maybe I can figure out how to pronounce it. No, Mr. Poe said, putting the paper away. If it's too complicated for an adult, it's much too complicated for a child. Are we sure now? God, Sunny shrieked. Like many infants, Sunny spoke mostly in sounds that were often difficult to translate. Do we need any translation of the word translate?
God.
Anyhow. Okay, so. Much too complicated. This time, she probably meant something like, but Klaus reads many complicated books. He'll tell you what to call him, Mr. Poe continued, as if Sunny had not spoken. Yule. Find him at the main office of the Lucky Smells lumber mill, which I'm told is a short walk from the train station. Aren't you coming with us? Violet asked. No, Mr. Poe said, and coughed again into his handkerchief. The train only stops at Poultryville once a day. So if I got off the train, I would have to stay overnight, and I'd miss another day at the bank. I'm just dropping you off here and heading right back into the city. Not the best caretaker. Anyhow, the Baudelaire orphans looked worriedly out the window. They weren't very happy about just being dropped off in a strange place, as if they were a pizza being delivered instead of 3 children all alone in the world. What if Count Olaf shows up? Klaus asked quietly. He swore he'd find us again. I have given Mr. Dewey, I have given your new caretaker a complete description of Count Olaf, said Mr. Poe. So if by some stretch of the imagination he shows up in Poultryville, Mr. Geck will notify the authorities.
Let's just call him Sir.
We'll just continue reading the words and see how it works, right? But Count Olaf is always in disguise, Violet pointed out. It's often difficult to recognize him. Just about the only way you can tell it's him is if you see the tattoo.
And his shiny eyes and his what and he's very terrible. Is that it makes him he somehow brags about himself. So if you don't really understand who the guy is, isn't just what Lois says, you can tell it's him.
Okay.
Or by the words that he thinks. Believe the book.
All right. So where was I now?
You were saying you were the Count Olaf was always in disguise.
Okay.
Sorry, we're gonna call this the worst.
Listen, you guys asked me to read on YouTube. I am not a YouTuber. I just happen to have a channel. All right. Okay. Okay. But Count Olaf is always in disguise, Violet pointed out. It's often difficult to recognize him. Just about the only way you can tell it's him is if you see the tattoo of an eye that is on his ankle. I included the tattoo in my description. Mr. Poe said impatiently. But what about... Yes, I do need a sip of something to drink. No! Don't drink my drink. Go get him, Ben.
What's that?
It's got caffeine in it. You're supposed to go to bed.
Well, let's go back to the book.
All right, I'm just going to read this chapter. And then you have to go to bed. Okay, now what happened?
You said, he was always in disguise, and the only way you could point him out, well, the only way you could point him out was from his disguise as the tattoo on his ankle.
Liam, would you like to read the book for a little while?
Okay.
Yes? Okay, I like it. Now Liam is going to read.
He's gonna read chapter 2. two that I'm gonna read chapter.
Okay, Liam, my man. All right. You're not wearing your shirt, so you were right here. So I don't want to put you on the film.
Okay.
But they'll hear your voice. Now go get in your bed and you read from there. They will be able to hear you just fine. Now you get in your bed too, Joseph. You guys are in your PJs. Joseph, get in bed. You guys are not staying up all night.
Put that on. So she can put you on camera.
Would you like to stop and practice your pronunciation?
But what about
Quiet. Let Liam read. Liam's reading.
What about Carol's assistants? One of them to help him out with his treachery. I have described all of them, Mr. I have described all of them to the owner of the mill, Mr. Poe said, holding a finger up as he counted up Olaf's horrible associates. The random man, the bald man with the long nose, two women who had white powder all over their faces, and that chubby one who looks like neither a man or a woman. Your new guardian is aware of them all. And if there is any problem, remember, you can always contact me already on my associates.
I think that teenager guy is actually a, man. Because he sounds like a man.
Let me read. Muxerberry, Buddy Bedford.
Let your brother read.
Pronunciation. Sonny said glumly. She probably read something like, that's not very reassuring, but nobody heard her sound of the train whistle as they arrived at Poultryville Station. Here we are, Mr. Pope said, and before the children knew, they're studying in the...
Okay. There's only 2 more pages. Joe, would you like to read a page or 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually want
Liam, show your brother where it left off.
I left off...
You may find
Get in
it
bed.
useful to record a guidebook, which is a book that's an interesting and pleasant place
Lay down.
to visit.
Okay.
That's just a big sentence. To visit. And give helpful hints about what to do when you are. Poultryville is not listed in any guide. And as the Bulwer orphans trudged down Poultry House, one street, there in Simmons saw why. There was a few smoke shops on either side of the street, but none of them had any windows. There was a post office, but instead of a flag flying from the flagpole, there was an old shield dangling from the top of it. When it from the post office. Oh, and also this is called the Derpy / worst cereal in the world.
All right, let's go to bed.
Okay.
We will read another chapter probably tomorrow night.
No, name the video and then send
Oh,
Say part 1.
it's
The worst-
live. It's been recorded. It's been sending to the YouTubes the entire time, just like you wanted me to.
Okay.
We will read the chapter 2 of, The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket tomorrow. And we will practice our pronunciation.
And maybe
We always work on the definitions, and maybe you kids can also read.
now I've also heard that there's a wizard nearby who hates us, who wants to turn us into animals.
Ooh, a wizard that's nearby that wants to turn us into animals.
Let's see.
Oh, you want Mama to just off the cuff tell a story? Is that what you're trying to do?
No.
No, you want to tell a
I
story?
want for the recording when we're saying it. Each
Oh,
of
you
us
want
is
it to
an
be-
animal.
Hey,
You want the Pikachu?
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have stuffed animals.
And Joe
I like it.
is the other Pikachu.
Oh, so okay. By the way, there is
Oh, and
angry
by the
Pikachu. Okay,
And Happy Pikachu.
and this is happy Pikachu.
This is Ely.
and give me
Angry
the
happy
glass.
angry Pikachu is angry because he was cursed with his face. Happy Pikachu is happy because he was blessed with this face.
Oh, and Ely.
This is Ely.
Ely.
He comes from the aquarium, the Boston Aquarium.
And he
Oh, and also here's Nerd Ely.
Yo, be careful with my glasses, boy.
And
No,
also here's Nerd Ely.
Yes.
Ely.
also
This guy.
He wishes he
He's
had
a geek.
wings.
He's a geek like Mama. All right, now get to bed. Go to bed. Get to
And
bed.
also Lexi. Here's Lexi.
Oh yes, and here is Rexy.
And where's Doug?
And this is the stuffed gang. I did find Doug, by the way. Doug is in the thing. You can't get it. It's too deep. I will get it for you. We will introduce Doug another time. Okay.
I'll actually get him.
We're going bye bye because you have to go to bed, kid.
And Ely wishes he had